and being like, this guy is an alpha, look at the way he's behaving, and they're responding to that, which is then, amplifying how that looks. Okay, guys, moving on next is going to be composure under pressure, which is very similar, admittedly, to the masculine mindset that I said earlier. But what I mean, there's a slight difference in the word pressure. Okay, so you might, for example, be sat looking at a woman. You might, like, for example, as I do now, just look at the camera, I look at her, you hold her eye contact, she looks at the floor, looks away, whatever, you win. It's going to happen 9 times out of 10. 1 time out of 10, you're going to meet that one beast of a woman who doesn't look away, okay? And he's going to get to what, is called the under pressure stage, which is, the awkward stage, so to speak, okay? So I might turn here, I might look at a woman, realize she's caught my eye, and I just hold it. I wait, I hold it. See how it's getting awkward, guys? You're thinking to yourself, fuck, what's she thinking? What's going to happen? I should look away. She probably thinks I'm a weirdo. I don't want to murder her, whatever. And then she looks away or whatever, or she smiles, she looks at the floor. That is so fucking hard to do. That's one of the hardest things to do in that moment, okay? And that is what I mean by composure under pressure. Because not every body language scenario is going to be the same. You're going to be in certain scenarios where you need to override your brain. That's the hardest part. I had to do it. It took me years to do. Where like you're talking to quite a big, strong guy, and those guys that stand too close to you when they're having a conversation with you. So he'll step right in my comfort zone, and he's right in my face. If a woman's watching and I take a step back or lean back slightly, it makes me look like a pussy. So I've got to stand my ground, looking right in the eye, and be like, okay, certain guys will test you in that sense. Okay, that is what I mean by composure under pressure. You've almost got. You're like watching James Bond or something, and somebody's like, remember your training. In these spy films, they're like, remember your training, remember your training. That's it. You've literally got to be in that moment and be like, okay, remember like the core fundamentals, what do I need to do? And it will see you through. It'll bring you out the other side. Because people will test you. You will get that composure under pressure moment where like you do look at a beautiful woman, your heart races a little bit, you're holding the eye contact, and you're like, this is getting awkward, I should really look away. She's challenging you. Just use it as practice, okay? Hold that eye contact for another 2, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. Okay, it's getting really awkward. She'll give up first, she looks away. I've had some weird scenarios where girls are looking at you for like 15 seconds, like they're really, really testing you. You end up winning, and next time they look at you, they're smiling, they're looking at the floor, because it's just so rare that you find a guy that's on that level. Now, even if you don't get that woman, and she walks off, goes somewhere else after that and whatever, it's building up a bank in your head. It's building up a bank of, I successfully won that round. That was great for me. And that is also a form of putting points on the board, okay, guys? So that is something mindset-wise you're going to be challenged by. I want to bring your attention to it now so that when it does happen, remember your training, it's going to click in and you're going to go, I remember what Chris said, let's just wait this out. Let's just see how this works. Let's see how this goes, okay? The other one, actually on that point before I move on, is silence. It's awkward as fuck, right, guys? It's so awkward. So you might be in a job interview or something, and you're just sat looking at the boss. You answer the question, and the boss goes, mm-hmm. And the boss is thinking of the next question. Now, so many people are petrified of life, and they would go, well, I don't actually mean that on the other side. And they'd backtrack. You might be talking to a woman and you do the same, and she'd go silent. And then you'd shit yourself because you think to yourself, well, she's quiet because she didn't like it. That's the pressure moment. You've got to sit and be comfortable with the silence. Just sit, hold the eye contact, and just wait. These are all mentality tricks, okay, guys? So that's just a few examples of things that you're going to face, okay? Now, next up, I want to talk about predator versus prey. And those of you who bought my old body language course, the written one, you'll remember predator versus prey. I had a bunch of pictures in there. Basically, you've got to get in the mindset of a predator, okay? So you look at prey where their eyes are on the side of their heads. Why are they on the side of their heads? So they can look around them. See who's going to attack me. Somebody's from behind, they're going to get me. Where's the predator's eyes? On the front of your face. Now, this is something that you need to become comfortable with. Let's say you sit down in a certain environment. You've got to be thinking, okay, predator. You're just looking straight ahead. That's your field of vision. I think it was in the film Avatar. I know I'm going off topic here, and that's a free sponsor for Avatar. But it was like the biggest monster that was in the film. And they said something like, we go above him and we're going to drop down. We figured if he's the biggest predator, why would he ever look up? Because he's not under threat. That's how you have to act, okay? You blink of vision. That's your field of vision. That's where you're looking. That's where your world is at. I'll give an example. This is bad body language. You sit down at a restaurant, for example, like forget what I'm doing with my hands or whatever, but look at like my eyes, my face and whatnot. You sit down at a restaurant or something and you're like checking everything. You're always looking behind you. Whereas like the highest level guys with the best body language, like I said, everything is here. They're just in the moment. If they want to talk to somebody on their right, instead of like quickly turning like this, which is what prey do, what was that noise? It's like a predator where you just turn slowly. Yeah, not like a creep, not like Annabelle or something like that, or Chucky. You'll just like turn in whatever and just having a conversation with them. You're turning left, having a conversation. Somebody taps you on the shoulder. We'll get to this later with speed of movement, but it comes from predator versus prey. But somebody taps you on the shoulder, it might just be like a slow like, yeah, you okay, buddy? Rather than like, oh, you scared me. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not the kind of behavior that you want to be putting out there. And it's very much like wolf rabbit. Do you know what I mean? That would be a very good example. The wolf, looking straight ahead, looking like scanning the area, using the front of their eyes, really like honing in on their target. That's more what you need to deploy, slow movements, just controlled. Everything is calm and controlled. Whereas the rabbit, if you ever watch one in a field or you watch a prey animal in a field and they're like this, sniffing, constantly looking around, weird impression, I know, but they're constantly looking around, it's like looking all around them. What was that noise? Looking at the other rabbits, wide eyes, eyebrows high. Do you know what I mean? That's prey-like behavior. You bump into somebody, you're walking backwards. Oh, sorry, buddy, sorry. It's just, you've got to be more relaxed, you've got to be more composed, you've got to be thinking of yourself as a predator, not a prey animal. It just makes you look like a pussy, okay? So I think that's probably explained that pretty well, guys. We'll move on to the final point in mindset, which often gets forgotten. I used to talk about this a lot on the channel back in the day, which is people are always watching. And I was speaking about this earlier, and I was using an example. And I said we used to walk into clubs when we were younger, and I used to say to guys, like, they as we were walking through the door, they'd jump on you, do something stupid, maybe rub your hair, when I had a full big head of hair, and they'd just be jumping around like idiots, causing a commotion, doing something stupid. Back when like Geordie Shore was out, and they'd be popping the nose thing or something really ridiculous, and then girls would notice, okay? And this guy would like do something stupid, and then spot the girls were looking and be like, ladies, and relax. And it was like, it's too late. You've already fucked up, okay? It's like making an entrance into a room. Your first impression at a workplace, like all of these things massively matter, and you don't have to be paranoid, right? But you have to be semi-conscious that people are always watching, and women are double watching. Women are watching you when you don't realize they're watching, okay? You've been in a club for like 30 minutes, and you think that girl's looked at you twice. I'll give you a great example. I went on a date the other day with this girl, and I said to her, I was like, I didn't actually see you until the end of the night when I came over to you. I was like, if I'd seen you earlier, I would have approached you. I was like, did you get there late? Did you see me? And she was like, oh yeah, I saw you the second you walked in. And we like laughed about it and whatever. She was like, I spotted you immediately. I was like, I like him. So I was in that place like 2 hours before I came up to her and started having a conversation. So she was viewing me, my behaviors, the way I walked in, the way I behaved. I walked up to the bar. Okay, how's he acting? Has he walked up to the bar and looking over his shoulder? Because I went there on my own, which I often do. And, is he looking over his shoulder? Is he nervous? Is he relaxed? Is he just calm? All of that stuff exudes from you. I'm telling you now, people are always watching, but women are especially always watching, guys, okay? So get that into your mind early on. Everything matters. Everything that you do, every moment. You can't, I'm not saying to fake it. You can't let it slip. It's like a whole aura. When you're back at home on your own, whatever, you might cross your legs. I don't know what you might do. But when you're out in public, everything, every single moment, and this is not actually written down here. And this is one thing I've just remembered that I want to put in the course. Before I leave the house every morning, I settle myself. I take a deep breath, I settle myself, I relax, and I'm like, okay, Chris, you're about to go out into the world, be that type of guy that you want to be, relax, calm yourself down. Sometimes you can be like, oh, I'm late, you rush out in the morning, you just got a weird energy about you. You just rush in places, you're a little bit quick to turn and whatnot. And I always just breathe and I just go, Chris, just slow everything down, just relax, slow movements. You're a high level, successful man with points on the board, high testosterone. Just be who you naturally are. Nothing's a problem. You're just is it a panic station moment? You're going to the gym, you're out in an area that you're the best guy in the area. That might not be true, but that's the way I think, okay? And I settle myself down in that sense, and I'm like, okay, now get on with your day. You've got to catch yourself when you're walking into a club too, in that same scenario. You've had 2 or 3 beverages at home with the boys, maybe a few more. You're feeling yourself a little bit. It's your favorite song. Just catch yourself in moments, guys. Just be like, okay, relax. You're going into an environment where it matters. Have some self-respect. Operate in a certain way. Slow your movements down, slow your pace of talking down, etc. Everybody around you's buzzing. I get it. You're on a big night out. You want to be full of energy, jumping around. It's just that's not masculine energy. Just slow it down, control yourself. You're going into a new venue, make a good impression straight away. Okay, guys. So that's the end of mindset. I think we've covered pretty much everything there. Now we're going to move on to the actual body language stuff. We've got a list of basics, so all the stuff that you need to know that cover the whole wide spread of body language, everything that you'll need to know to improve your body language. So this is where the real learning takes place, guys, okay? It's probably going to be the most important part of this course. So, this next section is going to be incredible, guys. I hope you enjoyed the first 2. Let's move on.